Welcome back to the Bearded Console Gamer, and today, my friends, I'm going to be taking you deplorable monsters through all the biggest news to leave the Xbox camp over the last 7 days. More specifically, we'll be getting into the surprise drop of Halo Infinite's multiplayer mode, before going on to talk about the juicy new news surrounding the Elder Scrolls 6 and its potential to be an Xbox exclusive. Finally, we'll look at some new comments that were made by Phil Spencer surrounding Game Pass sustainability, before closing with some details on new backwards compatible games that were recently added to the Xbox stable. But before we get into all of that, I just want to say a quick thank you to everyone who subscribed to the channel and all of the magnificent creatures who entered last month's giveaway to win a copy of Metroid Dread for the OLED Switch. As we speak, that game is now winging its way to the winner, Hamkey DDZ, but don't despair if you didn't win, as I'll be holding another giveaway in December and a lot more throughout the rest of next year. So be sure to subscribe to the channel to get in on that action, and of course for the mind-numbingly sensual content. And now that that's out of the way, let's get into the first big news topic of the day, and that is the surprise release of Halo Infinite's multiplayer mode ahead of the game's full release on December 8th later this year. And let's be honest, thanks to a veritable sea of rumors and leaks, we saw this one coming a mile away, but it was still an undeniably awesome move from Xbox, and from what we've seen from the player data so far, it seems like it's paying off handsomely in terms of engagement. Now, whilst we don't yet have metrics for the console side of things, we do know that the PC version of the game is doing impressive numbers, with the game clocking an eye-watering 272,000 concurrent players just one day after launch. And given that that was a Monday, that could well increase as the week goes on. Unfortunately, there were some issues with accessing the game on other platforms, but overall it's been an incredibly successful launch for the Halo Infinite multiplayer mode, and it's sure to have given Microsoft a significant bump in Game Pass subscription numbers. But on a quick side note, I've got to say that Xbox's timing here with the Halo multiplayer launch drop was a little bit weird, and here's why. Back in July, it was revealed that Microsoft had partnered with EA and developer DICE to make the Xbox Series S and X the official consoles of Battlefield 2042, another multiplayer shooter that was set to launch officially on November 19th later this year. Now obviously, Microsoft would have had to pay out a significant amount of cash for that privilege, and that makes the decision to drop Halo Infinite's multiplayer beta less than a week out from Battlefield 2042's release date completely baffling, if only from a marketing point of view. It's a decision that is unquestionably going to pull attention and players away from Battlefield during that crucial launch period. And as we know from history, cough Titanfall 2 cough cough, that kind of interference doesn't generally work out well for those games long term. So yes, Microsoft has successfully generated a huge amount of hype and excitement by surprise dropping Infinite's multiplayer mode, but in doing so they've also screwed over a third-party partner. It's just a super interesting move. But regardless, back to Infinite, as was the case in the numerous flights leading up to the surprise release, players seem to be having a fantastic time with the game. In fact, the only real complaints that I'm hearing, besides some choice blue screen action, seem to be centered around the Battle Pass system, which some players are already calling out as being too grindy and poorly thought out. But on the bright side here, 343 is already responding to their feedback, with Halo Infinite's community director Brian Jarrett tweeting, "The team is looking at Battle Pass progression and gathering data from yesterday's sessions, and we'll share updates when we have them." It's also worth noting that progression made during the beta period, as flawed as it may be, will be carried forward when Halo Infinite officially launches on December 8th, at which point we can look forward to the addition of an extensive single-player campaign set on the mysterious Zeta Halo ring, with co-op and Forge features set to be added sometime in 2022. But the surprise Halo Infinite multiplayer mode drop wasn't the only piece of juicy Xbox news to drop this week. We also got some interesting information surrounding the next Elder Scrolls game and, more importantly, who's going to be able to play it. Now, ever since Microsoft acquired ZeniMax Media, the parent company of hard-hitting studios like Bethesda, Arcane, and Machine Games, there's been an ominous question mark hanging over who is going to be able to play games in the Elder Scrolls franchise moving forward. Soon after the $7.5 billion ZeniMax acquisition was announced in September 2020, Phil Spencer explained that the decision to bring future Bethesda games to other consoles would be made on a case-by-case basis. Now, this is a pretty wishy-washy statement that neither confirmed nor denied the exclusivity status of the next Elder Scrolls game, Fallout, the Indiana Jones title in development by Machine, and much more. However, PlayStation fans were given another dose of hope by Bethesda Game Studios head Todd Howard just 1 month later in October 2020, when he indicated in an interview with GamesIndustry.biz that it would be hard to imagine Microsoft wielding enough power over Bethesda to restrict the launch of the Elder Scrolls 6 to Xbox platforms alone. However, during a round table held with Bethesda to celebrate the completion of the deal in March 2021, Big Phil put a much bigger emphasis on Game Pass exclusivity for future ZeniMax games, stating, "Obviously, I can't sit here and say every Bethesda game is exclusive, because we know that's not true. There's contractual obligations that we're going to see through as we always do in every one of these instances. We have games that exist on other platforms and we're going to go support those games on the platforms they're on. There's communities of players and we love those communities and will continue to invest in them. And even in the future, there might be things that have contractual things or legacy on different platforms that we'll go do. But if you're an Xbox customer, the thing I want you to know is that this is about delivering great exclusive games for you that ship on platforms where Game Pass exists. That's our goal. That's why we're doing this. That's the root of this partnership that we're building." Now naturally, the continuing lack of clarity surrounding the exclusivity of key Bethesda games set the hastily stacked pile of kindling and bad intentions that is the internet aflame with debate. On one hand, you had the mass of understandably concerned Sony fans clinging to the hope that Microsoft will be unwilling to lose the massive revenue streams that could be generated by selling its games to PlayStation gamers. And on the other hand, you had a veritable sea of gleeful Xbox fans capering around like victorious goblins as they pointed out that making future Bethesda games day one Game Pass exclusives was a surefire way of ensuring the healthy growth of Microsoft's flagship gaming service. Both points of view had merit, however it became clear which way the winds of exclusivity were blowing when Xbox announced in June this year that Bethesda's upcoming sci-fi action-adventure game Starfield would in fact be an Xbox and PC exclusive that'll be coming to Game Pass on day one. And now, based on a new interview between Phil Spencer and British GQ, it certainly looks as if The Elder Scrolls 6 could be the next Bethesda game coming exclusively to Xbox and PC. In an article detailing the interview, GQ journalist Sam White references Starfield's Xbox exclusivity before going on to write that Spencer says he sees the same for The Elder Scrolls 6. Later in the article, Big Phil explains his reasoning behind the move, stating that it's not about punishing any other platform. Like I fundamentally believe, all of the platforms can continue to grow, but in order to be on Xbox, I want us to be able to bring the full, complete package of what we have. And that would be true when I think about Elder Scrolls 6. That would be true when I think about any of our franchises. So if you're a PlayStation gamer and you're hoping to experience the next entry into the Elder Scrolls franchise, it looks like you're either going to have to bite the bullet and pick up a Series X or S console, or just manifest a powerful gaming PC. The good news is that you're going to have plenty of time to save up for said Bethesda machine, as the Elder Scrolls 6 is still a very, very, very long way from launch. As it stands, Bethesda still has its hands full developing Starfield, which is set to launch in November 2022. Therefore, it's fair to say that full-scale development on The Elder Scrolls 6 likely won't truly kick off until that project is completed, which means we're looking at a release date somewhere in the mid to late 2020s towards the end of this console generation. And that'll give Bethesda plenty of time to pump out at least 2 more Skyrim Super Mega Legendary Diamond Tier Arbitrary Anniversary Editions to keep us salivating while we wait. But that's enough about that for now, because we're going to quickly address some comments made by Phil Spencer regarding Game Pass sustainability. During a press event celebrating Xbox's 20th anniversary, Phil insisted that despite slowing subscription numbers, Game Pass is still, and I quote, very, very sustainable, and that it's continuing to grow. Now, Game Pass is unquestionably the best deal in gaming, and at times it has literally seemed too good to be true. And this has led some people to believe that the service must currently be operating at a loss in an attempt to gain a critical mass of subscribers, at which point the service would become sustainable and ultimately very profitable, having drawn millions of players deeper into the Xbox ecosystem. But if Phil is to be believed, that's just not the case, and the service has already reached the point of sustainability, which would be great news for Xbox and, let's face it, the gaming community at large. Now, last we knew, Game Pass had around 18 million subscribers, and that was before the launch of Forza Horizon 5 and Halo Infinite, and those are 2 major titles that are set to draw masses of new subscribers into the service. So again, if you're listening to Phil, things are looking pretty good for Game Pass at the moment. But moving on to the final piece of news for today, Microsoft has added 70 new games from the original Xbox and Xbox 360 era to its backwards compatibility catalog for the Xbox One and the Series X and S consoles. Included in this treasure trove of games is the entire Max Payne, Fear, and Skate collections, along with literally dozens of others, all of which are going to benefit from resolution enhancements and auto HDR improvements. It was also announced that 26 titles from the existing backwards compatibility catalog would be receiving a frame rate boost, including Fallout 3, Fallout New Vegas, Dead Space 2 and 3, The Elder Scrolls Oblivion, and the entire Gears of War franchise, along with a bunch of other games. And for a full list of the additions and improvements being made to the service, be sure to head on over to the Xbox Wire website and check the minutiae out for yourself. Sadly though, it was also announced that due to licensing, legal, and technical restrictions, no more games are going to be added to the backwards compatibility library after this point. And on that note, I'm going to leave it there for today. Let me know what you thought about the news in the comment section below, and if you enjoyed the video, please be sure to like and subscribe, and to keep it here for all the biggest news from around the video gaming industry.